Starting with the next topic, and those are the hemoflagellates. So now we are coming on to the hemoflagellae, which means that flagellae is fine, but hemo word is going to come up, means they're going to be somewhere in the blood and the tissues. And now what are the, the things that we have to cover under it? We have a lot of trypanosomas like Trypanosoma cruzi and brucei, and then we have Leishmania, the Kala Azar one, which has even got a question in the recent FMG and the NEET 2023. So yes, on that note, let's begin. When I'm talking about Trypanosoma and Leishmania, before that, I want to tell you that all of them have something called APET. I'm trying to concise everything in one table. What is APET? Please note, there are 4 forms that are known. Pehle, everyone with me revise what is APET. Amastigot, promastigot, epimastigot, and trypomastigot. So amastigot, promastigot, epimastigot, and trypomastigot. APET is going to be the forms. What do I see inside them? Firstly, I see that in many of them, यहाँ पे flagella was trying to come out but did not come out. In all the others, definitely the flagella is coming out. So I know that all of them have a flagella coming out. But जो amastigot है, उसके अंदर I can say A for absent flagella. In amastigot form, the flagella will not come out. In all the others, the flagella is coming out. Simple. Where is the flagella coming out from? So I realize that okay, in all of them, I can see a nucleus. ठीक है, N for nuke. And other than that, I can notice there is something P and B that is mentioned. So I want you guys to focus on this complex of P and B. You know what is P? P refers to a parabasal body and B refers to blepharoplast. It refers to blepharoplast because you know what are they together known as? Parabasal body and blepharoplast are together known as kinetoplast, and I am somewhere realizing that it is from this that the flagella is coming out. ये जो blepharoplast and parabasal body complex है kinetoplast, from this the flagella is coming out. So now next question is kinetoplast and nucleus का relation कैसा है? Which is anterior, which is posterior? So let me tell you a trick. The flagella end is the anterior end of all these organisms. Wherever the flagella is coming out, this means this becomes anterior end, this becomes posterior end. Same way this becomes anterior end, I'll just label all the anterior ends for you because you know that flagella is coming out, that is the anterior end. So do you realize that kinetoplast is always ahead of the nucleus? Over here also kinetoplast is in front of the nucleus, kinetoplast is in front of the nucleus, means kinetoplast is always going to be anterior. Whereas in a trypomastigot, kinetoplast is behind the nucleus. This is the only one which has a post-nuclear kinetoplast. So now I can tell you that in this entire table, you just have to learn 3 things. First, everyone's learned the format: APET, amastigot, promastigot, epimastigot, trypomastigot. If I ask you which out of these does not have the flagella, so you will say A for absent flagella. A for absent flagella is what we are going to see over here. The next thing that we notice is all of them have a flagella, but where is the flagella coming out from? Flagella comes out from kinetoplast. Kinetoplast is always aage, kinetoplast is always anterior, but which of them is going to have a post-nuclear kinetoplast? The post-nuclear kinetoplast is going to be the trypomastigot. Clear till now? Now you will ask me that all of them have all of the forms. APET is present in all Leishmanias, all Trypanosomas. No, that is the tough part. And to simplify that, I've given you a chota sa mnemonic. You will realize in microbiology, we have a lot of cat wala mnemonics. This is just another cat mnemonic. So, cats are very, very frisk. Now, you must have seen, or maybe many of you have cats as pet. They keep running around from here to there. So, bet you can't keep the cat on your lap. Cat is never going to sit on your lap. Cat is always going to run around. So, remember, bet I cannot keep the cat on the lap means that when I'm talking about B for Trypanosoma brucei, what are the forms that I will see? Epimastigot and trypomastigot. Okay. When I'm talking about T cruzi, cat ke liye cruzi, I will see amastigot, I will see T for trypomastigot and E for epimastigot. And when I'm talking about L for Leishmania, so Leishmania mein I'm going to talk about amastigot and I'm going to talk about promastigot. How simple. So now if you learn it, otherwise it's so confusing now which one has which forms in it. So remember, bet you can't keep the cat on the lap. Bet matlab it has brucei has epi and trypomastigot. Cruzi has amastigot, trypomastigot, epimastigot. Leishmania has A and pro. So please remember, bet you can't keep the cat on the lap. And now I'll start one by one with all of them. You will realize that yes, ma'am was right. She has given us a beautiful mnemonic because this is going to help us a lot. Before I start, all of them, how are they going to, what is their life cycle going to be? Human to sab mein hoga, with one insect along with it. Some bug, some insect, some fly. So some insect is going to get that infection to us. So they tend to ask you that what are the two groups, and ye bas abhi ke liye rat lo. This you will analyze when I go to the life cycle. There are two groups. Whether the insect is going to give the organism to us in the saliva, matlab insect ne bite kara and from the saliva this has come in, or the insect has passed the organism into the feces. So if the insect passes the organism in the feces, that insect is known as the stercoraria. And in Trypanosoma cruzi, you will see that something is going to be coming out in the shit, something is going to be coming out in the feces, okay? Whereas if the organism is passed in the saliva, that is something that you will see in these two Trypanosomas, which are nothing but the family of Trypanosoma brucei. So one of them, basically I am saying, dono mein some insects will be there. In one of them, insect will spit it out. In one of them, insect will shit it out. Simple as that, okay? If the insect spits it out, it is Trypanosoma brucei wala life cycle. If the insect shits it out, that is stercoraria, it is going to be Trypanosoma cruzi wala life cycle. And now how am I going to learn it? So Trypanosoma brucei sounds like buckle. B for brucei, B for buckle. So which is it gonna be? Is it the salivaria wala or the stercoraria wala? This means insect is gonna spit it out. That is buckle se matlab spit it out. Whereas Trypanosoma cruzi matlab insect is gonna shit it out. Now let's start with the first one. I'm starting with the story of Trypanosoma cruzi. Before I start with the story, I want to tell you a very, very beautiful story out here which will give you a lot of fun in reading Trypanosoma cruzi. So when I'm talking about I'm not writing it right now, I'm just giving you a quick overview. Jaise you will study, you will feel it's a beautiful mnemonic. Story time actually. Trypanosoma cruzi, so I've kept a cruise over here, and I've talked about a very rich American couple. Why? Because Trypanosoma cruzi and this rich American couple, matlab they're going to live the best life, the most jhakass life they're going to live. So remember, Trypanosoma cruzi causes jhakass, means Chagas disease. Trypanosoma cruzi causes Chagas disease, and this is also seen in South America. This is known as South American trypanosomiasis. तो ये American couple है. अब cruise में travel कर रहे हैं. They're traveling in a cruise from their home to the cruise. They won't go in a cycle, na. They will go in a big car till the cruise. तो benzimidazole. Benzimidazole is going to be the drug of choice that we have. So Mercedes-Benz mein, they're going to go to the cruise, and where are they traveling? They are basically going for their honeymoon to Rome. Honeymoon mein obviously they're going for honeymoon, so I've kept it as kissing. There is a kissing bug that is going to be involved over here, which I'm going to talk about, the kissing triatomine bug. And why have I written such a rich couple na, from America? They are traveling to Rome, they have Mercedes-Benz, they are traveling in a cruise, they are living the best Chagas disease, jhakass life. So bade log, badi baatein basically means everything is going to become big. Mega esophagus, mega colon, the heart will be dilated. Sab kuch aisa big hoga. That is what is Chagas disease. That is the best story that you have to explain Trypanosoma cruzi. So now let's start with this entire thing. When I'm talking about Trypanosoma cruzi, which I'm calling as the South American trypanosomiasis. The South American, some people even call it South American sleeping sickness, but I would want to call it American trypanosomiasis because I've told you na, it's somewhere in America. North mein bhi hota hai, to America word dhoond lena. Trypanosoma is going to be American wala, theek hai. Definitive host of course is going to be us, that is the humans, but other than that it occurs as a reservoir in many animals, armadillos, dogs, cats, pigs, bahut sare animals mein, but definitive host for all is us. How does it come to us? So that is what I told you. There is something known as the kissing bug. There is something known as the kissing bug, and that is the triatomine bug, also known as the reduvate bug. So remember, Trypanosoma cruzi ke liye triatomine reduvate bug, जो kissing on the cruise wala story hai, you will think of. Now if I take you into the life cycle, I think you already know. If I'm saying that, acha, will you see epimastigot, amastigot, kya dikhega? You'll say, okay, wait, cruzi, bet the cat will not sleep on the lap. So remember, bet the cat. Cat mein, ma'am, cruzi wale mein, these are the three things you will see: amastigot, trypomastigot, epimastigot. So here I can see first and foremost, I have a human being over here. Like you told us, the definitive host is human being. Then you said one T wala, Trypanosoma T mein triatomine kissing wala bug will come. So that has come. Now my next question is, this bug is going to give me which form? Another T, the infective form. is trypomastigoid. Simple. You know why are they called as trypanosomes? Because what is coming to us out of amastigoid, promastigoid, epimastigoid, trypomastigoid? Trypanosomes mein trypomastigoid is going to come to us. So trypomastigoid is going to be the infective form. So now tell me, there is a triatomine bug which is going to give us trypomastigoid form. So the triatomine bug will bite us, but how is the trypomastigoid coming out? Is this bug going to spit it out or shit it out? Tell me. So Trypanosoma brucei का life cycle होता तो ब्रूसी में it would have come via the saliva, the buccal mucosa, but ये Trypanosoma cruzi का life cycle है. Cruzi का मतलब it's gonna come out of the shit, and that means if you read very carefully in this life cycle, the bug will definitely come and bite, but ultimately how is it going to come out of the bug? It is going to come out in the feces, trypomastigoid. So what happens? Bug will come and bite matlab skin break ho gaya. Now when that bug will be rubbed, because you will obviously itch na, koi bug will come and bite you, you will itch, to uske feces mein jo bhi organism hoga, that is going to enter into you. So simple way is, although the bug bites you, but over here it's not spitting it out, it's shitting it out. Now it finally comes to you. You will see that fine, the trypomastigoid form has come into you. In your body, it has changed into amastigoid form. From the amastigoid form, again it has changed into the trypomastigoid form and entered into the blood. So we realize that when it entered into the body, into the blood, it was the trypomastigoid, changed into amastigoid, again into trypomastigoid. So this means next time when the bug will come to take the blood meal, what will it take back? It will take the trypo. So matlab it gave the trypo, it will take the trypo. And in the bug, this trypomastigoid will then change into epimastigoid, back into trypomastigoid, and trypo will again come to us. So simple, tet-tat ka life cycle chal raha hai. Tet-tat means in the humans, trypomastigoid, amastigoid, trypomastigoid. And in the insect, trypomastigoid, emastigoid, trypomastigoid. Tat, tet. Tat, tet, that is the life cycle. Tat, tet, tat, tet, shitting out life cycle. Remember that. Please note that no matter, you will see so many life cycles going forward, and in the end you won't be able to revise it. So एक चीज याद रखना, trypomastigoid form तो you are seeing in everywhere. Humans may be, insect may be, everywhere. But in where do you see amastigoid and where do you see epimastigoid? So remember, insect में, from today onwards, I am going to call it insect. I am going to call it insect. Insect में क्या दिखेगा? Epimastigoid form दिखेगा. So that is what you should never complain of. Emastigoid कहाँ दिखेगा? Insect में दिखेगा. So the amastigoid form is going to be seen in the adult human beings. ठीक है. Now guys, let's talk about the disease. So what all have I done in this mnemonic? I have understood the American. It is American trypanosomiasis. Very good. I have understood it is Trypanosoma cruzi. Excellent. I have understood the kissing bug ka story. And now I can come down to this condition, that is, it is Jhaka's life, best life, that is Chagas disease. And Chagas disease mein I will tell you now the story that this is of two types, acute Chagas disease and chronic Chagas disease. So just imagine, if the bug will come and bite you here or the eyes or anywhere, that area will become a little swollen. That is known as chagoma. Chagoma, you can say, is nothing but the entry site edema. Wherever the bug is going to come and bite you, there is going to be entry site edema. Right? Other than that, so as I said, everything is going to become big. The lymph nodes are also going to become big, lymphadenopathy. The liver and the spleen can become big, that is hepatosplenomegaly. The eyes can become big, and that is known as the Romanas sign. That is known as the Romanas sign. Let me show you a picture of Romanas sign. Can you see over here this periorbital edema? Rome. Remember the cruise mein they were going to Rome. So please remember, this Romanas sign is nothing but periorbital edema that you have to know. Periorbital edema. So this is very important. That's why I told you that Chagas disease, Jhaka's life, going to Rome in a cruise, that is Trypanosoma cruzi and Romanas sign is seen. This was all seen in acute Chagas disease. What is chronic Chagas disease? Again, remember the last part of the mnemonic was bade log badi baatein, which means everything is going to become big. When I ask you about the heart, it is going to cause myocarditis, but which cardiomyopathy can it cause? When the heart becomes big, dilated cardiomyopathy. Then in the GIT, it can cause megaesophagus. If you remember in pathology, you have studied a disease called achalasia cardia. That is megaesophagus, right? So achalasia cardia hoga. Other than that, it can also cause megacolon, which is very important. Rare kuch yaad karna hai. So can it go into the brain? Can it cause meningoencephalitis? Yes, it can. It can cause meningoencephalitis. So this is everything. The site becomes big, lymph nodes are big, liver and spleen are big, the periorbital edema is big, esophagus is big, colon is big, heart is big. That is why I kept the mnemonic, everything becoming big, bade log badi baatein. And almost now I just need to tell you what, almost completing on this mnemonic, and that is that what is going to be the diagnosis and the treatment. So let's get going. When I talk about the diagnosis part of it, what will you take as the sample? You will say, ma'am, this was roaming around somewhere in the blood. So either I can take a blood sample, and blood nahi available hai, so I can take a Buffy coat sample. I hope you all remember what is Buffy coat. Buffy coat is nothing. If this is your blood sample, obviously one part of the blood is all the red blood cells. The other part of the blood is going to be all of your fluid, that is plasma. So where does your, the WBC part go? That WBC part is going to be a part in the center, and that is known as Buffy coat. Most of your organisms are seen in the Buffy coat. Malaria ho gaya, filaria ho gaya, trypan, all the blood wale organisms are very commonly seen in the Buffy coat. So the sample is going to be blood or Buffy coat. And how do I identify it? What did I teach you? The most important form, what comes into us, goes from us, the trypomastigod. So ये जो C shape organism ऐसा दिख रहा है, and I'll show you something very interesting. Be with me guys on this. You will notice that yes ma'am, you have studied that everything important over here is going to be the trypomastigod, and in this trypomastigod we can definitely see that this is going to be the nucleus. This is the kinetoplast. How did I identify this as the kinetoplast? Because the flagella is arising from here and the flagella is going out from this end. So the flagella going out from this end makes it the anterior end. And where is the kinetoplast? Behind the nucleus. And that is what I had told you, that the only place where the kinetoplast is behind the nucleus is going to be a trypomastigod. So the post-nuclear kinetoplast is what you need to know over here. So you will identify it like this. And what is the culture that you will put it through? You will put it as Novi, McNeil and Nicole medium. So you can learn it as Novi, McNeil and Nicole medium. This is triple N media. Let me tell you abhi se only. Triple N media in microbiology is number 1 used in Trypanosoma cruzi, not in Trypanosoma brucei. It is next used in Leishmania. So this is a previous year question. Where all do you study Trypanosoma? Where all do you study the NNN media? It is number 1 going to be in the Trypanosoma cruzi and the other one is going to Leishmania, not Trypanosoma brucei. Okay, this is done. Now we come down to the story of how are you going to treat it. So like I told you, Mercedes-Benz. So this means the drug of choice is going to be benzonidazole, Mercedes-Benz ki basis pe, and baki symptomatic. If you have dilated cardiomyopathy, you might need pacemakers. If you have mega esophagus, mega colon, treat as per that. So that is what I'm saying. You treat as per the disease that the person is having, but one drug of choice, especially for acute conditions, can be benzonidazole. Now finally, when my story is done, I can come back to that mnemonic and revise. A rich American couple, so rich because of, look at their lifestyle. So rich American couple, American trypanosomiasis. Mercedes-Benz, benzonidazole. They are traveling in a cruise, Trypanosoma cruzi. They are going all the way to Rome because it shows you Romanas sign. They are obviously going to Rome for their honeymoon. So kissing bug, triatomine bug causes it. The jackass life means Chagas disease. And bade log badi batein, all the organs were becoming mega. That is the story that you have for Trypanosoma cruzi. I hope you loved the story and you will be able to remember this. Trypanosoma cruzi is done because now I'm going to go on to Trypanosoma brucei. So first tell me brucei. Bet the cat can't sit on your lap. Bet. Matlab what all forms are going to be there? Only 2 forms. Epimastigot, trypomastigot. How simple. So now you will ask me, Trypanosoma brucei to theek hai, but what condition does it cause? Whether it is Trypanosoma brucei gambians or whether it is Trypanosoma brucei rhodesians, it causes sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness, many people ask me, what is sleeping sickness? Very simple, sleeping in the day and not sleeping in the night and then feeling fatal and comatose and dying because of it. Sleeping sickness. So that way, so ma'am, half the medicos have it. Sleeping in the day and not sleeping in the night, having insomnia, but then sleeping in the daytime. That is what all of us, our life cycle is, but hum jaisa hi hai sleeping sickness. But it's of course fatal. It can result in coma, it can result in death. So one of them is known as West African sleeping sickness and one of them is East African sleeping sickness. How do I learn which is West and East? I have a very basic first class wala thing that we used to study, that the sun is going to rise in the east and sun is going to set. Set matlab game over. sun का game over हो गया. So sun is gonna set in the west. Repeating, it's gonna rise in the east and it's gonna set in the west. So please note that when I say East African sleeping sickness, तो sun rise हो रहा है, Rhodesians. Whereas when I say West African sleeping sickness, तो game over हो रहा है, that is Gambians, and your mnemonic is done. Repeating, sun is rising in the east, so Rhodesians in the East African ones, and game over in the west, so Gambians is going to cause West African. And what is it? Sleeping sickness, SS. So what is the vector? SS fly, CC fly. CC fly in both the situations is going to be the vector. SS sleeping sickness, CC fly for both the situations. Glossina is its actual name when it comes to all the real biology, but yeah. Now coming to the primary reservoir. So एक का humans है और एक का animals है. How will I learn it? So humans तो सबका ही होता है. Animals किसका है? So please note, the way you write, again I'm telling you a mnemonic, the way you write East African sleeping sickness. Okay, count the number of A's. East African sleeping sickness. Whereas when you write West African sleeping sickness, तो A's किस में ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं? Who is getting more and more of A's? So of course East has an A in the name also, and Africa में तो A है ही है. West doesn't have the A in its name. तो animal किसका reservoir होगा? East African का reservoir is animal. East African sleeping sickness has the A, so that is going to have the animals as reservoir. West में it is going to be human beings. Now coming to the clinical features, as I have told you, there is going to be sleeping and sickness. तो वो तो I have understood, but one of them is going to have the very important winter bottom sign. What is winter bottom sign? I have written lymphadenopathy. So there will be a patient with usually a posterior cervical lymph node. There is a patient with a posterior cervical lymph node over here, and that is referred to as the very famous winter bottom sign. Now, which of them is more dangerous? Means we'll have more parasitemia, more virulence, more resistance. So remember, rising of everyone is, when you're rising in life, people are scared of you. You are very dangerous because you're full of zeal and determination. So jo rising wala time hota hai na, that is always gonna be more parasitemic, more virulent and more resistance. So this means that when I'm dealing with the treatment aspect of it, जो ये game over वाला है, that तो I can treat with pentamidine. But for East African one, I will be needing suramine because it is more resistant, it is more virulent, it is more parasitemic. So I'm going to require suramine for the treatment. When I come to the diagnosis, of course, think logically. You will either take the blood sample or the sleeping sample. See, CSF, because the sleeping sickness hai na, so it's somewhere affecting the brain. So you're going to take the CSF wala sample, or you're going to take the blood sample. And what are you going to analyze in them? Which form will you see again? पूरा ट्रैपेनोसोम फैमिली का फेवरेट फॉर्म इज ट्राइपोमास्टिगॉट. दैट इज व्हाई आई टोल्ड यू वी कॉल्ड इट ट्राइपैनासोम बिकॉज ट्राइपोमास्टिगॉट इज द मोस्ट फेवरेट वन. इसका कल्चर क्या है? Now you will say that ma'am, in the culture for Trypanosoma cruzi and for Leishmania, for Trypanosoma cruzi and for Leishmania, you told us the triple N media, but not for Trypanosoma brucei. ये जो sleeping sickness वाला है, that sleeping sickness one is not going to be here. For that we have a different media known as the Weinmann's media. So the man is sleeping. Please remember, sleeping sickness का जो media है, that is the Weinmann media. These छोटा stories that I keep telling you here and there, because without this, you know, microbiology cannot be studied. So remember Weinmann media, which just, even if you don't learn Weinmann, at least इतना याद रखो, the triple N is not over here. Triple N is not over here. Triple N is only for Trypanosoma cruzi and Leishmania. Whereas the man is sleeping, that is how we will learn it. The man is sleeping. So जो sleeping sickness है, means when I'm talking about Trypanosoma brucei, that is not going to be by triple N media. That is going to be by the Weinmann media. Okay, treatment aspect we have already done, and that makes us wrap up the entire trypanosomes. But now I want to ask you one thing. Everywhere in a subtle manner I say this also affects the heart, that also affects the heart. So why don't we make one final list of all the parasites which are causing myocarditis? And how am I going to write it? All the parasites which are going to cause myocarditis. All the parasites causing it. So there are going to be parasites with a lot of T's and E's. So these are the ones which are going to cause myocarditis. So remember, abhi we have studied something called Trypanosoma cruzi, where the heart becomes big, dilated cardiomyopathy. Even Trypanosoma brucei, Rhodesians, because Rhodesians matlab rising na, rising is more dangerous. So heart pe danger hoga. Trypanosoma